Ricky Rabbit.
Rabbit reads er, er, er. Rabbit reads er, er, er. Rabbit reads er, er, er.
Rainbow's the name of our train, cheered Ricky Rabbit. Rickety-rack down the track. What a racket!
Ricky Rabbit loved trains. Ricky Rabbit loved listening to Daddy Rabbit read his favorite story about a little red train. When Daddy Rabbit finished reading the story, the rabbit family heard many excited rabbits outside. All the rabbits cheered because a railroad was going to be built in Rabbitville. Ricky Rabbit fell asleep thinking about getting to ride on the new Rabbitville roller skate railroad. "Ricky Rabbit," called Mommy Rabbit, "rise and shine." Ricky Rabbit opened his round eyes. Ricky Rabbit reached out his 4 furry legs to stretch. It was morning. Ricky Rabbit sat up in bed. Today was the day that the workers were going to start building the Rabbitville roller skate railroad. Rush, rush, rush! Ricky Rabbit fixed his bed. Ricky Rabbit smoothed down his furry hair and got ready for school. Mommy Rabbit served Ricky Rabbit a good breakfast of raw carrots and raisins. Yum, yum! "Mommy Rabbit," asked Ricky Rabbit, "may I watch the workers build the railroad after school?" "When you finish your chores," replied Mommy Rabbit, "you may watch the railroad workers." Ricky Rabbit raced to school. Ricky Rabbit could hardly sit still when he got there. "I must pay attention," Ricky Rabbit told himself. "I must not wiggle in my chair." Soon it was time to go home. Ricky Rabbit raced into the house. Quickly but carefully, Ricky Rabbit did all his chores. Ricky Rabbit took out the trash and swept the porch. "You may watch the railroad workers," said Mommy Rabbit. Mommy Rabbit helped Ricky Rabbit climb up the old tree stump in the backyard. Mommy Rabbit and Ricky Rabbit watched the railroad workers plan where the railroad would go. Ricky Rabbit could see railroad workers laying down heavy railroad tracks. From his tree stump, Ricky Rabbit could see all the railroad workers. They were working hard. "Well, Ricky Rabbit," said a happy voice, "how is the new railroad coming along?" Ricky Rabbit turned around. There was Daddy Rabbit. "Oh, Daddy Rabbit," cried Ricky Rabbit, "I'm glad you are home." Ricky Rabbit stood on his rear or back legs and gave Daddy Rabbit a great big hug. "I've been watching the railroad workers," reported Ricky Rabbit excitedly. "It won't be long before Rabbitville Roller Skate Railroad is done." Daddy Rabbit and Ricky Rabbit watched the workers. Daddy Rabbit and Ricky Rabbit sat together. "It's hot outside today," remarked Ricky Rabbit. "I'm getting thirsty." "Perhaps the workers are thirsty too," replied Daddy Rabbit. "They work in the sun all day." "Let's take the railroad workers something to drink," cried Ricky Rabbit. "Why, Ricky Rabbit," replied Daddy Rabbit, "that sounds like a great idea. Let's ask Mommy Rabbit to make some raspberry tea. A few minutes later, Daddy Rabbit, Mommy Rabbit, and Ricky Rabbit were carrying ice-cold raspberry tea to the thirsty railroad workers. The thirsty railroad workers were very thankful. "We will bring you raspberry tea every day," said Daddy Rabbit. The friendly railroad workers were glad to see the rabbit family each day. While the thirsty railroad workers drank raspberry tea, they talked to Ricky Rabbit about trains. The days went by. Soon, the railroad workers were working on the other side of Rabbitville. Ricky Rabbit could not watch the workers from his stump anymore. Daddy Rabbit asked Ricky Rabbit, "Do you think the railroad workers would like a picture of a train?" "Yes," said Daddy Rabbit. "You should paint one for the railroad workers." That night, after supper, Ricky Rabbit carefully drew a train. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cars between the engine and the very last car. The very last car was a caboose. Ricky Rabbit painted his train. Ricky Rabbit painted the engine bright orange. Ricky Rabbit painted the 9 cars on the train. 2 cars were blue. 2 cars were red. 2 cars were yellow. 3 cars were green. Ricky Rabbit tried very hard to stay inside the lines of the green car. There was just enough green paint left. Ricky Rabbit was almost finished when "Ricky Rabbit, can you come and help me for a minute?" called Mommy Rabbit from the kitchen. "Yes, ma'am," said Ricky Rabbit. Ricky Rabbit started to put down the wet paintbrush. It slipped out of his hands. The paintbrush had wet paint on it. Splat! The paintbrush fell on the train picture. It fell on the last car. The paintbrush fell on the caboose. "Oh no!" exclaimed Ricky Rabbit. Ricky Rabbit stared at the big green stripe on his caboose. "I can't paint my caboose green!" cried Ricky Rabbit. "I don't have enough green paint. I think my picture's ruined."